Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants beat the Mets 5-4 today. I think this was just a really great way of pulling it together by the entire team. I mean, they got ahead 2 runs in the first, then the Mets came back to lead 3-2, but the Giants tied it again. But then the Giants got ahead 4-3, and then Francisco Alvarez hit the home run in the 6th against Thairo Rogers to tie it up at 4-4. But the Giants came back to win it in the late innings in a tied game. Mike Yastrzemski broke that tie by hitting an RBI double in the 8th inning to put the Giants ahead 5-4, and Camilo Doval pitched a scoreless 9th inning with 2 strikeouts to lock down the save. So it was just great team coordination today, and I think that's just one of the biggest things for the Giants right now. And it's what went really well today, because they came back after getting into trouble and letting the Mets get some runs on the board. Ross Stripling, I wouldn't say that his start today was terrible, but it certainly wasn't great. He got into a jam. He let the Mets score a few runs, but the Giants, they hit the ball and they got back ahead 4-3. Then the Mets, they tied it on the home run against Thairo Rogers. And I mean, I just gotta say about Rogers, he's a pretty good ground ball pitcher and all that, but even with his delivery and his approach to inducing weak contact and all that, it's not like he never gives up a home run. And yeah, he does have his weaknesses, but it does seem to me that home runs are hit against him a little bit more than they maybe should be with the type of pitcher that he is. You would just think that style of pitching, it needs to be able to be relied on to prevent the long ball. There's a flip side to that, and that's that he strikes out. It's not like he never strikes out a hitter. He's not a guy to really come in with overpowering stuff and all that. He can't throw 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. That's just a fact. But due to the fact that he's got that rising slider and that movement on his pitches, even though primarily we'd have to say that Rogers is a weak contact guy, it's not like he never strikes a hitter out. He can do that, even though it's not what he lives off of. He can strike hitters out, and when he does, it can just look really great the way he's doing it. So sometimes Rogers will have strikeout stuff, even though he's not a hard thrower. So that's really the other side to it. But he did allow a home run today. I mean, he pitched 2 innings, so I would say it's good that he gave us 2 innings out of the bullpen. The Giants are going to need to be good at preserving leads, but they really did hold this one down in the late innings and set it up for Mike Yastrzemski to hit his double in the bottom of the 8th to get them up 5-4. And I really think that seeing the Giants win in a 1-run game like this is not the same thing as just seeing them win any game. I think these 1-run games are just really special things for the Giants, because in one sense, just looking at it from any perspective in baseball, those 1-run games are going to add up, and you're going to see it as a big thing, how teams perform both offensively and defensively in the late innings of a ball game. But I think we can get a bit more specific than that and just say there's kind of something going on here for the Giants, and it really seems like when they have everything together, they win those, and when they don't end up winning them. And I've mentioned before that when things are going wrong for the Giants, it's oftentimes just because somebody messes up. It's one area of the roster that can't hold it. And I think that what really went well this time was that just all areas of the roster really held their own, and I think the Giants, as a team, were just able to coordinate today and really pull it all together. And this really brings about a surprising comeback against the Mets because they were behind this 4-game series. They were behind 2-0. It really looked like the Mets might sweep them, or at least looked like the Mets were going to take this series. So I really don't think we take this for granted here. This comeback of the Giants winning the last 2 games against the Mets. They're surviving. I mean, their record, I believe it's 8-13. That's not great, and the wins are still vastly disproportionate to the losses. But I think that this weekend was a step in the right direction. Just really both days where all areas of the Giants roster were able to function, and yeah. So that's probably the biggest takeaway from this weekend. And there's still going to be work left to be done. I mean, I'm not saying that it's been proven that really everybody's rebounded and that consistency has completely been achieved, but I think that this was just a major step in the right direction, and especially too with the Giants bullpen being able to hold it, in the late innings of a game today. The biggest takeaway is that everybody really stepped up when they were needed. And the Giants' key hitters, you saw a lot from them. Jock Peterson had an RBI single, and then with Thairo Estrada, it was a home run. I mean, Estrada's batting average, it was like 339 or something. I totally expected it to normalize a bit, and it has gone down from that a bit, according to my understanding, and probably as the season goes on, it will normalize a bit more. You can't really expect a guy to keep up those humongously high types of numbers, but still, the potential that we've seen from Estrada is huge, and he does have power. It's not just that extra base power either. It's the occasional ability to hit one over the fence, and that's what he did today. And if the Giants can just be on track with the consistent ability to hit those home runs, I think that is something they're going to have, even if they're struggling in some areas. I think home runs are going to just continue to be a big thing for them this year, and they really need that more than ever here. Blake Sable, too, he had an RBI single. That was good to see from him. And then, yeah, obviously, as previously mentioned, Mike Yastrzemski in the 8th. So that's the way it's going for the Giants. But, yeah, a lot of it's getting the right hits at the right times. And obviously, too, having the pitchers able to pitch at the right times. And I think for starting pitchers, we're probably more looking at the actual quantity of innings they're going to pitch. Like, just take Logan Webb yesterday. Ross Stripling's start, I mentioned it wasn't great today. But the Giants, they've just got such a... I'm interjecting something here before we get back to the point. The Giants have such a deep team in terms of pitching that has to be a part of what helped them to win today. I don't want to beat up on Ross Stripling too much. We still haven't seen a whole ton from him, and it's highly possible that he could improve. He does have a track record of success in his previous career. But I just have to mention, I think with the Giants, just all of the pitching options that they have and their ability to manage their roster so well in that area, and just their depth in terms of having guys who can throw multiple innings, that's got to have helped them to win this game today, because they were able to pull Ross Stripling in the 4th inning when he wasn't looking super sharp. I mean, imagine if they'd had to just leave him in because otherwise it was just going to wear out the bullpen. Maybe he would have settled in, but maybe he wouldn't have. And that's just, I have to say, I think we're really seeing the dividends from the way the Giants roster is structured in terms of pitching and their whole depth chart and all that, because they have the ability now most of the time to remove starters when there's a good reason to, and I think that's a lot of what helped them to win today. On the other hand, yesterday Logan Webb, in his rebound start, he went 7 innings and allowed 2 runs. And really, I think when we're talking about starting pitchers, that's what we're looking for. I would say just, and there is going to be, don't get me wrong here, I don't want you to take me too far and really take away from this that there's no situational importance, like we can't learn anything from how the Giants starting pitchers are doing with runners on base and 2 outs, or how well do they get out of a 2 on base, no out situation, and is it the most 1 run that scores? I don't want to be taken too far. I don't want you to think that I'm saying we can't learn anything from that. I'm not at all saying that, and I definitely think that even after a real good performance from a starter, if the 6th or 7th inning is their last inning and there are runners on base and the manager opts to leave the starting pitcher in, exercising confidence that he can get out of the inning, and he's in his 3rd time through the batting order, getting really specific on the situation, I think we can learn a ton from how the starter performs there, especially if it's a close game and his performance or lack thereof would have a critical impact. Still, I think the dominating factor in terms of starting pitching is just how many innings they pitch and how few runs they allow. Just in general, we're looking for innings pitched, and we're looking for general run prevention. And the bullpen, a lot of that's the same way, but I think for them, we also think about the leverage of the innings, like maybe a lot more, because in the 8th or the 9th inning, you're really only going to see your pitcher pitching 1 inning, and in games where you're losing anyway and you'd have to have your team come back, it's oftentimes not super damaging, especially if the offense doesn't really get anything going anyway. Then it wouldn't be super damaging if the relievers gave up a couple of runs and all that. But so what we're really focusing on is the back end of the bullpen and just how big of a thing that is. And runners on base, obviously, in the late innings too, when sometimes 1 run can mean as much as 3 runs might in the 1st inning. That's probably what we're looking at there. And I just think in every respect the Giants were able to coordinate both yesterday and today, and we'll have to hope that they're able to keep this up. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. I want to make a point about this. Thank you so much to everybody who subscribed. We're nearing 50 subscribers here, and according to my understanding, we can go live if we reach that threshold. So we're up to 46. 4 more subscribers should do it. So I'm just encouraging everybody to subscribe or to induce others to, because I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing to go live and actually have, live comments on the thing. I would really be looking forward to that. So let's just get a few more subscribers in here. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Please continue to leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.